Hey folks, Reviewy McReviewface coming back at you, and today we're talking pop culture. Alright, so trying something a little bit new with this, and this is going to be a new series that I'm going to be doing on the Reviewy McReviewface channel, and it is called Pop Culture. Now, why pop culture, you ask? Well, because we're going to be dealing with some Funko Pops, and we're going to be dealing with some YouTube cultural phenomenons, channels, people. Anyways, so we're down here today. We've got the studio set up, and we're going to start on this series just by talking about what it's all going to be about, and then we're going to play with a test sample. So I'm going to show you one off the pile here. So this one here is a Bo Levi Mitchell Funko Pop. So this guy, okay, the plastic isn't glued down properly in the box, but you get the point. So this guy, for those of you who aren't CFL fans, Bo Levi Mitchell is the quarterback of the Calgary Stampeders. And so I took, I believe this was a Brett Favre Funko Pop, and customized it. First things first is just painted over the jersey, made the colors right. I put on a headband here because Bo Levi always has a headband on. Put on a beard, put in his tattoos, everything like that. So tried to make it look as much like Bo Levi as possible. And then I made the box. So the box, really simply, there's templates out there for your own custom Funko Pop labels. Did one of those, put in all of the pictures of the pop. And then, of course, on the back here, we just have all of the different Stampeder quarterbacks. So collect them all, except there are none except for this one Bo Levi figure. He is one of a kind. But this has got me thinking. When I finished this, I thought, you know what would be fun? Would be to take this to my YouTube channel and not only do some of these customizations, but show you how I go through the process. But then I thought, okay, that's all fine and good for me to end up with a Bo Levi Mitchell figure. It goes onto my Stampeder display area. That's fine. I can keep that one. But I don't want to make a whole bunch and then just have them sitting around the house. So what we're going to be doing with this series is I'm going to be customizing different Funko Pops for people that I follow on YouTube. So we're going to be doing some customizations and shipping them off to them and seeing if they like the result. Who knows? We'll see. But so today, we're not going to be doing a customization per se. What I want to do is I want to take a Funko Pop. This is one I got off of Amazon. And we're going to explore exactly what kind of customizations we can do to these Funko Pops. Now, all of the Pops that I've gotten here are off of Amazon, and they were all dirt cheap. So these are all the Funko Pops that are not so popular. So apparently, Alita Battle Angel, not very popular. This one was only a couple of bucks. So we're going to be playing with that one today and just seeing what exactly customizations we can do. Now, I don't worry too much about the box itself, because I'm actually not going to keep this box. The only part of this I care about is here. It's the plastic. That part I'm going to reuse. So for example, with the Bo Levi Mitchell here, this is not a Funko box. This is just cardboard covered with printed paper. And again, we're also going to keep this plastic part right here because it doesn't go well back into the box without it. So want to be a little careful of that. So we're just going to pull this figurine out. We are going to keep this for later use. All right, so we have our Alita Battle Angel. I haven't seen this film either, so I don't know too much about this character. She's got very tiny feet and does not stand up very well on her own. It stands up better that way. So what we're going to do, there's a couple of different ways that I want to customize these Funko Pops. Some of the tools we're going to be using are an X-Acto blade, because there are going to be parts of these different Pops that I am going to need to carve off. So we're going to test and see how well that works. And a paintbrush, because obviously we're going to be needing to change some colors on some of these figurines. Now, so we've got the knife to cut away parts, but then there's going to be areas that we're going to need to add up, which is where we're going to be using this, which is the Craftsmart polymer clay. It's easy to work with, and then you put it into the oven and it bakes hard. And so we're going to start off with the X-Acto knife. So what I want to do is I want to take this bang off. I want to give her a haircut. So we're just going to apply the blade right here. Always cut away from yourself. My thumbs will attest to the fact that it's not fun to cut yourself. Alright, so there we go. So we've carved off a piece, very gently kind of running the blade along the edge there. And yeah, I think there's definitely some areas we'll be able to carve away there. So we can definitely give her a haircut and then paint over that area. Maybe for a future one, I may bring in the Dremel tool just so that I can really grind this as flat as possible. The other thing I want to see is if we carve away a little of the face here. Now this one, and I don't know if this is true for all Funko Pops or just this particular one. We'll have to test it out as we go, but you can see it's actually just a very thin layer of paint on this, but the overall body is pretty close to the hair color. You would think, you know, it would be all this color and then you'd paint the hair, but no, apparently what they did was they painted the face. So that's really interesting. Okay, so we can definitely carve this away. The other thing too is, and I managed to do this with the Bo Levi, was to take the head off, but really odd. I'm not sure if you can make that out here, but the shape of the connector bit here is really odd. Like it's actually a little misshapen. But looks like we can, with a little gentle persuasion. There we go. And unfortunately, it looks like that cracked and broke because I was, yeah. So that actually broke right here, but we'll be able to glue that back in. So we'll just have to use a little bit of glue to get her body back in. So we're just going to put her head off to the side here, because this is a lot easier to work with than having the head on, especially for things like, okay, let's say we want to carve this boot down. You know, I don't want to necessarily have to work around that giant head. Heed, down in front! Yeah, so we can do that as well. And it looks like the body is actually a different color. Definitely carvable, so that's good news. So if we're like, oh, okay, we want to make it so that she doesn't have robo arms anymore, let's get rid of this robo elbow, carve that all away. The one thing I do want to test is exactly how thick this goes. So I'm going to try chopping off a bit of the hair, like all the way through right here, and just see, is this one solid thick piece or is it hollow on the inside? I don't know. Carve down like that. Nice straight haircut right there. Aha. So from there we can see that we do get the hollow chocolate bunny right here. If we do carve too deep, so it's not really all that deep before you start to hollow out. So I'll have to be a little careful of that, because obviously, like, let's say here we want to trim off this chunk of hair, right? If we go too deep, there, so if we go too deep on the haircut, hollow chocolate bunny. So we know now how deep we can go. The next question is, can we then fill in those gaps or add to this? And yes, we can. So the nice thing is with this stuff, just kind of whoosh it in your fingers, work it like Play-Doh. It's really easy to use, and we can do things like, okay, well, you know, we've got this gap here. Oh, we don't want that gap. Let's fill that gap in. So we can kind of build up a couple of layers of this here. And smooth that out and make that into a different hairstyle for her, which is where, you know, something like this nice carving tool comes in. It'd be good for pushing things in to where they need to go. Rub it down from there to make sure it's nice and smooth. Yeah, so that's working very well. There, just to put in some details. So that's good news. That works out really well. And then the last thing to test is the paint. Just to see, and I know that these paint fairly well. It does give it a bit of a powdery texture. I'm just using some acrylics here, and I do know that the acrylics do give it a bit of a powdery finish, which is why putting it in the box is not a bad thing, because putting it in the box means you can't touch it. So it looks better that way. So I'm just going to do a little painting party here. So if we just take a little bit of that red and we just give her a nice evil eye. All right, there we go. There we go, that's looking nice and evil. Now, the thing is, of course, this may require more than one coat. So the first coat is going to look really janky. Once we put that second coat on, it'll clean it up a bit. So as you can see, the paint works pretty well. It also, I mean, this hasn't been baked yet, so it's not as good of an indicator, but is even in the wet form, as you can see, we throw a little black paint over that. That cleans up pretty nicely. So it does paint well to this putty that we're using. The one thing is you can notice it does have a different shine from the rest. So if we were going to do this, I would probably go ahead and repaint the rest of her hair as well, just so it all has the same shine to it. You know, you don't want to be able to see the lines. So there we go. I mean, yeah, I mean, super janky, but just to test it out, yes, everything I want to do with these Funko Pops, we're going to be able to do. So we're going to be able to carve, to sculpt, to paint. I'm glad I'm using this one as a sample because, quite frankly, that's really annoying. What can you do? You know what you can do? There, we'll make her one gigantic balancing clown shoe. There we go. That's what you can do. So that's our first sample. So we're going to take Miss Aaliyah Battled, now she's a battled angel, back into her box. There we go. There's our battle damage Alita. Yeah, so there we go. That's the series. That's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be taking these Funko Pops and we're going to be making some pop culture monuments. But hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just talking about pop culture. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications so you'll know when the next video comes up, and I will see you next customization. Thanks for watching.